These days, the ground where Rush built his reputation is overgrown and on the market. In May 1990, debts of more than £2 million forced Chester City to sell up and get out. But this summer, the third division club will kick off in a brand new purpose-built stadium just half a mile down the road from their spiritual home. That was Chairman Ray Croft's promise when they left 2 years ago. He's kept his word. Foundations have been laid, and in August the club will be back where they belong, when many reckon the end of Sealand Road would mean the end of Chester City. Obviously it's a small club with a small percentage of football fans in the city. What was the point? Why carry on?
Oh, it's Chester Football Club. Tradition, isn't it? I mean, there's people come to the matches here, their fathers and grandfathers came before them, and hopefully the children will come after those. It's a tradition. We mustn't let that go. It's wrong.
So there will be a new ground for Chester City football fans?
Definitely. Yeah, no doubt about it. And it'll be the best day in the world for me and the fans. I'm sure it will.
Obviously it's a small club with a small percentage of football fans in the city. What was the point? Why carry on?
Oh, it's Chester Football Club. Tradition, isn't it? I mean, there's people come to the matches here, their fathers and grandfathers came before them, and hopefully the children will come after those. It's a tradition. We mustn't let that go. It's wrong.
So there will be a new ground for Chester City football fans?
Definitely. Yeah, no doubt about it. And it'll be the best day in the world for me and the fans. I'm sure it will.
And when you consider the sacrifices the fans have been forced to make, it's not that surprising the new ground is already home sweet home. Because Chester City have spent the last 2 years not just down the road in exile, but in Macclesfield, 40 miles away. And that's meant the sort of round trip for home games you really do have to be
football crazy to make. All right, Frank.
There and back across country, it's a 2.5-hour coach trip without a dual carriageway in sight. But it's an incredible journey 1,000 Chester fans have been making for the last 2 seasons.
I believe they must be the best in the Football League. I don't know of any better ones than that. To do what they've done for us, well, for me personally, because I've just kept on going with the football club, and to do what they've done, I think they're marvellous. They're the best in the Football League, I'm sure.
How many would do what we've done? We play every game away from home.
There's just something special about going to a football match. And it just makes you feel even better that you know you have to go all this way and you still do it.
We finished bottom of the 4th division once and I watched him home and away. Now, if you watch him home and away and finish bottom of the 4th division, you'll watch him anywhere.
After 50 odd years, you can't get it gets in your system, you can't get rid of it.
Why do you do it though? I mean, a 40-mile trip, it's a bit much to ask, isn't it, some days?
Well, what's the alternative? You go to Wrexham? You've got to be joking.
And Chester certainly need all the support they can get. Playing at Macclesfield has cost them £500,000 in lost advertising and sponsorship. Nobody will tell you the move is the main reason they're bottom of Division 3, but it's taken its toll.
Professional footballers are entertainers when all's said and done, and a lot of the time it's physically impossible for us here to get the support that they require to be motivated, and it's a little bit like asking Frank Sinatra to sing at the London Palladium with nobody there. He'd go, and now, oh, I'm not having any of this, wouldn't he? So the situation is very similar.
It's hard to believe that the Deva Stadium's lush playing surface was only sown in May.
They do Liverpool's, Everton's. Not Manchester United's, they definitely don't do Manchester United.
As Chester proudly showed off their new home, their players could be forgiven for wanting to move in as quickly as possible. 9 months ago, the site was just a farmer's field. £3 million has since been spent creating the first stadium totally on safety lines required by the Taylor Report.
It's a small stadium, which should be a homely sort of a stadium. It's very, very easy to steward and police, easy to maintain and cheap to maintain, really. It doesn't need a lot of people working on the stadium.
We've got our feet back under the table, as it were. We've got our own stadium. We've got affinity with the stadium, which we haven't had and which we lost when we left Sealand Road.
Police control the chief steward. We've had several reports from different turnstiles that they can't open them. The operators don't know how to get in them or to switch them on over.
Like any first night, preparations for the Coca-Cola tie against Stockport County had the inevitable hitches. There was no alcohol available because the licence hasn't yet been issued at a ground sited in 2 countries. They say, don't they, that football is a game of 2 halves, and here in Chester that's not just in a sporting sense. We are sat in England watching a game over the border in Wales. The Deva, the Latin word for Chester, is a dream come true for the club's fans. They've spent 2 years making a 90-mile round trip to Macclesfield for home games.
Very nice, really good, very pleased with it.
Brilliant, fantastic. Great to be back in the city, eh, Mum?
And indeed, the first game ever to be held at the Deva Stadium.
The only disappointment was that Chester lost the game 2-1 to go out of the cup. Other clubs are now likely to study Chester's scheme.
I think safety first is paramount. I think for far too long, football supporters, when they were invited into football grounds, were really given a rather poor deal. And I think that a safe environment has to be a good environment. We certainly don't want a repetition of any of the disasters that are too well known to everybody.
Half a mile away, Chester's base for more than 80 years still stands, having been sold to clear the club's debts. It's a sad reminder of difficult times. In October, Manchester United are due at the Deva to mark its hoped a brighter future.